I found the Doctor Who book tag on a blog called Becoming Bookish, link will be below, and I could not, as a Doctor Who fan, pass up the chance to do this. However, as my channel is primarily movie based, I am going to do it as the book and film tag. There are 11 questions, I think. Each one has a Doctor Who theme to it, and then with each one I will pick a book and a film that I think best represents my answer. The classics. A classic that still fits into YA literature. Now, I don't particularly like YA literature, but there are some classics that have a younger feel. For example, The Railway Children, Little Women, possibly A Christmas Carol, depending on how you like to look at that one. And for films, I would have to say Hammer Horror as a non-obvious choice, because Hammer Horror is very tame horror nowadays, and I think it's a great way to get either people who are new to horror or younger audiences kind of acclimatised with some of the themes that may be discovered. The Ninth Doctor, a book and film that you feel is underrated. There are two books that I love that have really kind of sparked my love of contemporary fiction, because I am more of a classics fan. Contemporary writing I find can be a bit choice. However, The Boy Who Could See Demons by Carolyn Jess Cook completely propelled my love of fiction in a contemporary setting. It's about a boy who has early onset schizophrenia, and he can talk to this demon who manifests in 3 different guises, and it is wonderful and I cannot recommend it enough. And the other one is The White Devil by Justin Evans, which takes place in Harrow School, and it combines a lot of Lord Byron's past, and there's a beautiful description of tuberculosis. And if you just like the Harrovian concept and Lord Byron and TB, I love it, and I think it's so underrated. Everybody needs to read it. And in terms of films, there's actually a film that I watched quite recently called Dead Silence, which is about ventriloquism, and it is incredible. I hadn't heard of it. I found it randomly on DVD and then watched it, and it is one of my favourite, maybe top 20 films, and it is so underrated. I was upset that I hadn't ever heard of it. I cannot recommend it enough. David Tennant. Something that was hard to let go of when it ended. In terms of films, for me this is the Freddy Krueger series. I have just finished watching the last one and I am heartbroken. Somebody needs to make another one. And in terms of books, there are quite a few. The one that came to my mind first of all was a book called A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. I read this about 8 years ago when I was at school, and it was my book of choice for my personal study, and it's horrific, and it's about the mistreatment of women, and it will curdle your blood, the fact that it's based on reality. Number 4 is Matt Smith, One That Made You Smile. For books, most recently it has to be the Stephen Fry Chronicles. It took me about 2 weeks to read that because I just kept savouring it and refusing to allow myself to read it when I wanted to. It's just so gorgeous. I love Stephen Fry, and it's really well written and really comforting. In terms of films, I would have to say any film to which I want to give a standing ovation. 3 that come to mind were Suffragette, Les Mis, and Big Eyes, because I had such high expectations for Big Eyes, and Burton just did such a gorgeous job, and it is one of his best. Rose and Ten, a relationship that never sailed. Okay, so for books, this one will never happen, but it's Logan McCrae and Roberta Steele in Stuart McBride's McCrae books. I'm in love with Roberta Steele. She is amazing, and she and McCrae would never work. But I just think the way they interact with each other is so fantastic. And in terms of films, I guess I'm going to have to go with Bellatrix and Voldemort. I would love to have seen what's happened there. Obviously there are suggestions, but for me, Bellatrix and Voldemort would be a fantastic spin-off series. Weeping Angel, one that you blinked and it was over. Brideshead Revisited, the book, was amazing, and it was over far too quickly. I wanted to read it immediately again as soon as I'd finished it. I loved it. And in terms of films, I'm going to say The Visit. The Visit is my favourite thriller horror, and my heart raced throughout it. Blink of an eye, it was over. I loved it, and again, I wanted to watch it immediately after. 7. Daleks. One that you would like to exterminate. I would love to exterminate ghost-written books that are not obviously ghost-written. And we know Katie Price ghost-writes her books, that's fine. I'm on about people like YouTubers who sell their books to impressionable audiences, to millions of subscribers, and those people think that that YouTuber has done that themselves, and then they go and get world records for the book sales and don't really own up ever to the fact that they didn't actually write it and just make excuses. And that really ruins the publishing industry. If they'd written it themselves, fantastic. And ghostwriters earn a living, it's great. But it's the secrecy and the lies and the deceit, and I don't like it. In terms of films that I would exterminate, anything where a bunch of college students go on a road trip and anything shaky cam or found footage. Bowties Are Cool. A bandwagon you jumped on early. Admittedly, I'm not very good at bandwagons, but sometimes I will be ahead of things. When I was at school, I read Lemony Snicket when that was cool, so we're talking maybe 15 years ago. And in terms of films, Miss Peregrine. I read Miss Peregrine about 5 years ago, which is terrifying, but it was about 5 years ago, around about 2012. But yes, I had read Miss Peregrine before Miss Peregrine was a hype, and I do think Burton did an amazing job. Run, you clever boy, and remember. One that had a plot twist that you didn't see coming. For books, I have to say a book that I read quite recently. It's called The Ice Twins, and it's about these twins, one of whom is dead. And it's very harrowing, but it messes with the head, and it just takes a journey that I wasn't expecting, and I thoroughly recommend it. And for films, I'm going to re-mention The Visit. I love a Shyamalan twist, and The Visit is just the best of the best. Raxacoricofallapatorius, one with a name that's hard to pronounce. I'm going to use the same answer for both, and that is Les Mis. There are two ways to pronounce this. There's Les Miserables and there's Les Miserables. I don't quite understand, but I think one part of France pronounces it one way and the other part pronounces it the other way. I'm not 100% certain, but both ways are apparently correct. I did research this. And the last one that took you back in time. Philippa Gregory's books about Henry VIII are amazing. I love all of them that I've read. I don't have a particular favourite. When I'm in the right mood, I also really like Barbara Erskine. There's a great contrast between past and present. I think they work really well. And in terms of films, most recently I watched Brideshead Revisited. This was fun as a Doctor Who fan. I enjoyed that as a book and film fan. I very much enjoyed this. If you want to do this, I tag you to do this, and if you do it, let me know. I'd love to see it. And thank you for watching. I'll speak to you all soon.